Hey everybody, it's Jazzy here. So, over this weekend, there was the Monster Hunter World Beta. And basically, I spent my entire weekend playing it. That was all I played this weekend. Literally nothing else was played. So, I don't really ever do this very often. You know what? I've never actually done this. I don't ever do this. But, I wanted to put my thoughts on just the beta from what I've seen and say what I felt about it. So, anyways, first thing I noticed with the beta was obviously the elimination of areas of a map for like transitions and stuff. Now it's all seamless, and going into it I knew it was going to be like that, but after experiencing it, it it really does make the world seem a lot bigger. Like before, there was just maps, and you would have an area that you could go through, but none of them were really that big, and you didn't really feel the scope of where you were. But with World, just playing the beta, the whole place just felt alive, and it felt like an actual place on the planet. Like it had its own ecosystem. I would be down on the beach during the forest, the ancient forest. I would be down at the beach, and then I would travel for a couple minutes, and suddenly I'm in a giant canopy. Like it felt like a whole world that I could go through, which I guess is what they were going for with Monster Hunter World, was they wanted to make it feel like there was more than just killing the monster. There is an actual ecosystem behind the game. So I noticed that when I was playing, and I thought that was really well done. And uh, during my first stream, during the first mission, going through the forested area and seeing how lush and beautiful it looked, and just everywhere I could go, I I started tearing up. It was actually really amazing how far this game has come from just the PS2 era. Like, this is a big step, and I I am so, if the whole game is like the beta that I just played, I'm ready for it. One of the newer things that I noticed that they used was they added more moves to all of the weapons, and while I didn't test all of them yet, I think the only ones I haven't tested yet are the gun lance and the insect glaive. Those are the only two I haven't done yet. But after using the rest of the weapons and seeing all of the new stuff they've added, I think they've actually made it easier to transition from one weapon to another. Because, in my opinion, if you're, say, a longsword user, and then suddenly you want to go to something like, you want to go to lance, it would probably be a bit jarring, but they've definitely put some more focus into rounding out each weapon and making it its own system in combat. Like, they've definitely seemed to have improved upon their evasion based moves, because I noticed a lot of weapons now have an actual evasion system with their weapons. So it really works out, and switching from like the bow and going straight to like the what is it called, the longsword, wasn't wasn't that big of a difference for me. Like, playing through those two, or when I moved to greatsword. The greatsword was a good weapon, and I could go from that to the dual blades, and I didn't feel like I was losing much steam at all. So that was one of the next things that I saw was really cool, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the weapons can do, because I know that the bows and the bowguns probably have more stuff that they can do. I don't know if any of the other weapons have special talents based on the weapons, but some of the weapons definitely I was really excited with, like the longsword. I love the new spirit stuff that they've added with all of the different slashes. The wyvern shot for the bow was really good, and even the different types of special ammos that they added for the bow guns were really fun, including the wyvern blast for the light bow gun, where you put down the mines and it lets off a poison or an explosive cloud, and you can blow it up. Like, all of those were really good, and it's just amazing what they've done with the system that was already in place. I didn't really think that they could make it any better, but they've actually improved it quite a bit, and I cannot wait to see how much further they can go with the rest of the game. So, about the monsters. The monsters were really cool. I've actually managed to kill every monster that was in the beta. Even the ones that weren't supposed to be killed, I guess. I went ahead and killed them. You'll probably see the footage in the background while I'm doing this, so if you see, like, I'm fighting, say, Diablos or something, those weren't meant to be hunted, I guess, or they weren't the mission. Anyways, so with the monsters, what I noticed was they seemed a lot more fluid with the way they acted and the way they moved. It's almost like they took the original designs of monsters and the way they moved originally, and they kind of added more of a fluid motion to it, and they seem to actually interact with the environment more than just being placed in a map. Because that was what I always felt it was like with the other versions, was it was always so, oh, here's a map, here's a monster, you should go fight that monster. With this, and with the whole new tracking system for the monsters, it's almost like you literally walked in there and these things were living here before you even showed up. It's amazing how life like everything feels when it's moving through. Like, I took one opportunity to just not even attack a monster. It was the Anjanath. I threw on the ghillie suit and I just kind of followed it, and it had its own little routine. Like, it would just kind of walk around. If every now and then it would stop and mark a tree with its claws. It would sniff the ground. It would just forage around. It it was a thing. It lived. It had its own routine that it had, and I thought that was really cool because you we haven't really seen that very much in Monster Hunter. We've just been told, hey, here's a monster, you need to go kill it. But we've never actually felt like these monsters were anything more than just something to kill. And for me, it showed that the monsters actually lived and had a life outside of doing battle with hunters. And even some of the monsters that were in the game before, like the Rathalos, the Diablos, even the Baroth, those things, their movements and the way they acted opened my eyes and showed me that there was more to them than what I'd originally thought. And it's just so great because it's taking this game to a whole new level with the ecosystem and how everything is actually connected through the ecosystems with the apex predators and the way that they can interact if they ever encounter each other in a fight. It brings the whole thing together, and I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for, and I think they've succeeded. It's really cool. So the last topic I want to touch up on is just the little mechanics that they've added, like the slinger and the basicness of going around and just picking stuff up and crafting it, and it's just the little things, you know. So I noticed when you were gathering, you would just gather from the node, and that would be it. You'd gather like some honey, and it'd be like, hey, you got 2 or you got 3 honey. Cool. So that's pretty cool. It definitely seems like they're catering more to the hunters who are on the go instead of having to just stop and do the little foraging animation. You just grab it, and it's like, oh, you got 3. Cool. Okay. So it seems like they're definitely trying to make it so all of the combat and just gameplay is always in motion. It's got to have a flow. It's got to keep going because you're on the hunt, and while you could stop and admire stuff, if you were in the mindset that you gotta go, you gotta hunt, you gotta do everything, you gotta go, you can just do stuff. Like there's no real stopping the gameplay, and that was really interesting to me because I'm assuming that because there's no transitions between the areas, that's why they added the gathering system that they did. Because since you're not transitioning through an area, you kind of gotta keep, going, going, going. You can't just stop and drink a potion, because no, the monster's gonna come right behind you and eat you. Like, there's no real safety anymore. Like, the monster can get you no matter where you are. And while that was kind of the case in the previous games where the monster could appear in the area, if you went to another scene, or not another scene, if you went to another area, you would have a good like 5-10 second buffer that you can drink a potion, sharpen your weapon, whatever you want to do, and then the monster would show up. And with that, I think they wanted it to be, like I said, more fast paced. It's got to have more flow. If the monster's constantly going to be able to chase you, you might as well be able to just grab stuff while you go and not have to worry about sitting there and foraging around on the ground for 1 honey, and then you got to do it again for another honey. So that was really interesting, and I do appreciate that because it shows that they were thinking ahead. The slinger, I haven't been able to use the slinger very often. I've used it mostly to throw poison and paralysis knives. I haven't really used the grappling hook that is with it. I think I've only ever used the grappling hook once when I was mounting a monster, but I can't really seem to duplicate it that easily. It's still very new to me. Like, I'm sure with practice I'll be able to get it, but for right now, the use of the grappling hook eludes me to an extent. For other stuff, like with the new crafting system, with potions and whatnot, you don't need like all of these different ingredients now. You want to make an antidote, you just need 2 antidote herbs. You want to make a potion, 2 herbs. There's not like they took away a lot of the complexity of some recipes. Like if you want to make a tranquilizer, or not a tranquilizer, if you want to make a trank bomb, you just need the prayer shroom and sleep herb. You don't need the bomb casing at all. So it definitely seems like they're trying to simplify it, but that kind of makes sense with the new systems that it's going to be on the Xbox and the PS4 and the PC, because they're going to get some new people, and if they get new people, the new people are probably going to want this game to be, I don't know, up to their standards. I don't really understand it all that well, but I don't really have a problem with it, honestly. It just takes a couple of middlemen out of the equation, and that it really doesn't harm the game. I just thought it was an interesting thing that they did, and if it's the way it is, then that's just the way it is. Like, I have no real problems with it. Alright, so to close, basically, what I feel after playing through this entire weekend, it's currently 11 p.m. on Sunday, so I think they have one more day, so I'll probably play it some more Monday if I have time. But, I figured I'd get it out as soon as possible. So, basically, I haven't seen anything in this game that has made me really disappointed or not want this game at all. Like, I actually came in here with really high expectations. Like, my friend, Jeff, he's been on the channel sometimes. He was telling me that I need to lower my expectations, or he wanted me to be careful, because I usually set them too high. But playing through the beta, if the game is half as good as the beta was, I will be happy, because if I can play the same 3 fucking missions over an entire weekend and still not be tired of it, like, I kind of want to go back and play right now, but I realized I should probably do this real quick. So, if I can do that and have as much fun, and there's just going to be that many more missions when I get the full game, I feel like I could probably, I definitely have a lot of good times with this game. Like, this is definitely going to be pre-order. I'm calling it right now. It's probably going to be my game of the year. Like, there's so many other good games coming out, like God of War and all that, but this one, I've been excited for this since E3 announcement, so I this I'm really excited for this game. I think from the beta that if you liked any of the Monster Hunter games before this, you should definitely think about going to get it. You should think about going to buy it or pre-ordering it. Like, this is one of the few games that I think it would be safe to pre-order. They've already decided that all their DLC is going to be free. They're not going to make you pay for any of the extra, like, DLC missions or anything. It's going to be all free. They always have collaborations, so you'll always see some really cool stuff. Like, they came out with a Mega Man skin for your cat. That's going to be one of the new collaboration missions that they're going to have. So, just based off of this DLC, or not the DLC, this beta, I can say with a decent amount of confidence that this game has been worked on through and through by very hard-working, dedicated people, and I am very pleased with how their work turned out, and I cannot wait to play the full game. So, thank you, everybody who stuck out through this entire video. I know it might have been probably a little long, but I wanted to make sure that I got all of my thoughts out. And if you do end up getting the game, I'm probably going to get it on the 360. Not the 360, the Xbox One. 360 is a fucking old machine now. I'm going to get it on the Xbox One. So if you do end up getting it on that console, you'll probably be able to play if I ever, I'm probably going to stream it, let's be honest. So if you ever wanted to play and I'm streaming, you know, hit me up, we'll play. Basically, in short, good game, good beta, gonna buy it. Thanks everybody for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye. And if anybody wants me to upload the final full recordings of each of the hunts, let me know in the comments. Thanks.